present bias, and no, you're not simply lazy. Offered $100 this minute or $120 next month, most people grab the 100, and the same wiring makes start it now lose to start it later every single time. Economists call it hyperbolic discounting. A reward loses value fast the further off it sits. Your now self and your later self want different things, and right now, the now self is holding the pen, so the report sits untouched, not because you don't care, but because later always feels like someone else's shift. Task aversion is the dullest reason and the most common one. In the largest review of the evidence, Piers Steele's analysis of hundreds of studies, how unpleasant a task feels, was one of the strongest predictors of whether it gets put off. The brain treats a boring, hard, or fuzzy job a little like a small threat and flinches away. The tell is simple. You never put off the fun parts, only the ones that sting. So when a task keeps sliding, check how it makes you feel before you blame your schedule. The Planning Fallacy was named by Daniel Kahneman and Amos Tversky in 1979, and it is why later always looks roomy. Ask students for a worst-case date to finish a thesis, and on average, they still finish later than that. We plan from the best case and quietly forget how every past version ran long. So tomorrow looks like it has plenty of room for the thing this afternoon somehow didn't. The fix is to plan from your own history, not your hopes, because last time is better data than this time's optimism. Abstract goals are the ones you never start because the brain can't grab a cloud. Researchers studying construal level found that distant, vague goals feel unreal. Get in shape lives in a fog, while 10 push-ups at 7 a.m. is close enough to actually do. The vaguer the task, the more postponable it becomes, so ambiguity is quietly the best fuel procrastination has. Every big undone thing is usually a small first step wearing a costume. Name the next physical action and the fog thins. But sometimes the step is perfectly clear and you still freeze. Decision paralysis is that freeze, the blank page, the over-full menu, the first move you can't pick. When there are too many options or no obvious starting point, doing nothing feels safer than doing the wrong thing. Barry Schwartz called it the paradox of choice. More options, more paralysis, less action. The task itself isn't hard. The entry is. Shrink it to one default first move and the logjam breaks, and even that won't help if the real problem isn't the task at all. Mood repair is the reason hiding underneath the last 5. For years, procrastination was filed under time management, until Tim Pychyl and Pychyl Sirois showed it is really about emotion. You delay to escape a bad feeling right now. Boredom, anxiety, self-doubt, put the task down, and the feeling lifts instantly, which is exactly why the habit is so sticky. You just handed yourself a hit of relief. The bill arrives later, when the task returns and the dread has compounded, and you find you paid for one calm afternoon with a worse tomorrow. Every reason so far was the same move in a different coat, dodging a feeling, not a deadline. Fear of failure turns procrastination into armor. If you never fully try, a bad result isn't a verdict on you, it's just, I ran out of time. Psychologists call it self-handicapping. The unstarted task can't fail because it never began. So the essay stays blank, not from apathy, but from protection, since a blank page keeps the dream of an A alive. The move that feels like safety is the one quietly guaranteeing the thing you fear. Perfectionism sounds like the opposite of laziness, and that is the trap. Set the bar high enough and starting guarantees falling short, so you don't start at all. Researchers separate this maladaptive, socially prescribed kind from the healthy sort, and it links to more procrastination, not less. The flawless version in your head beats any real draft you could put on the page. Lower the bar to bad first draft, and the hand finally moves. Low self-belief is the quiet "I can't" under the whole pile. Psychologists have an actual formula for motivation, temporal motivation theory, and how much you expect to succeed sits right on top of it. Expect to fail and delay becomes a way to never confirm it. The task isn't just unpleasant now, it starts to feel pointless. The counter is evidence, not a pep talk, because one small finished thing rewrites "I can't" faster than any amount of waiting to feel ready. The deadline high is the one people are almost proud of. I work better under pressure. Joseph Ferrari named the arousal procrastinator, the person chasing the last-minute rush. Here is the honest part. Most who say it simply remember the rescues and forget the crashes, and the true thrill seekers are a small minority who still pay in quality and stress. The adrenaline is real. The better usually isn't. If the rush is the only thing that gets you moving, that isn't a strategy, it's a tell. Quiet rebellion is procrastination as a tiny act of defiance. When a task is handed to you by a boss, a parent, a nagging should, putting it off is the one scrap of control left. Psychologists call the urge reactance. Push a person and they push back, even against their own interest. It feels like freedom right up until it costs you the deadline and the task is still yours. Ask whether you're refusing the work or just refusing to be told, because the second one you can hand back to yourself. The future stranger is the root the other 11 grow from. In brain scans, Hal Hershfield found that picturing your future self lights up almost the same regions as picturing a stranger, so you hand tomorrow you the work like it's someone else's problem. Here is where it lands. Tomorrow you shows up, sits at the same desk, and it turns out to be just you. The box still unchecked, the clock at 0, the deadline now. The gap was never really about willpower. It was that the person who would pay felt like somebody else. Close that gap, and the first small start stops being a chore and becomes a favor to someone you are finally on speaking terms with, you.